Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser. It's Friday. It's time to be reckless. The reckless mug is out. Cozzy is in the house. What's happening?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, I'm good. It's been a nice week. The Reds win comfortably in a game of footy, and then I don't need to talk about them for 5 days or look at them for a bit. It's quite nice.
It has been kind of like a time off. I had like a miserable day with Fenerbahce yesterday with Forest,
Oh,
which
yes.
kind of like affects us this weekend. So it was kind of like a double whammy. I was not happy at all. And I was like, not only we're fucking losing, we're really making it easier for them on the weekend because they were able to sub people out early, like 60th minute, 75th. It was still like a tiring game for him. It was still a physical battle, but they were able to take people out like in the 60th minute, 70th minutes. So it wasn't what I was hoping they would have to put up with.
I want to talk about this game a little bit because I find the Turkish league but so weird that I feel like every Turkish chief exec are like 5 years behind on FIFA, and that's how they do their transfers. Like I just look at players and go, are they still playing? Like Kante's there. I couldn't believe it.
Kante, they just brought him over from Saudi Arabia, actually. Like he literally just came over. I think what happens is, one, well, that's what you can bring in, because if they were still good enough to be in the Premier League, they would be in the Premier League or La Liga or whatever. And two, what happens is that's what the fans want. Because the fans know those players. So if they came out and said, I don't know, let's pick a young player in the Premier League that's, okay, like, for example, they played against Hutchinson, right, yesterday, who killed our left back. Like the kid who was at Ipswich.
Yeah. Good player.
So if they went and signed Hutchinson, nobody would be that excited. They were like, who is this guy? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Because he's too young. He's not that. But if they sign a guy that people have had the card for him in Ultimate Team or something like that, it's basically better for the boards to show those guys coming in. I mean, God's side does the same thing. The key is to find the guys that are still semi-hungry and has like a capacity to kind of like play well. I mean, they have it was like a horrific day for him yesterday after like what they did last weekend. Watching him yesterday was hell. And I did not really like the fact that, like I say, not only they lost, they freaking made Forest's life very easy in the second half, which kind of will come back to bite us, I think, this weekend.
He might be playing in the Championship next year, and he just went to Fenerbahce and battered them 3-0. I just find that.
Yeah. Like that shows the Premier League's quality, too. You looked at that Champions League game with Karabakh, for example. I mean, we had the same thing. There are certain things you might be able to afford to give to a La Liga team, League One team, and get away with some mistakes. Premier League, I think we're so used to watching it. The quality is so high that you can't afford. They will not, have any mercy, and they will capitalize on every mistake you make, kind of a deal.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe. Like again, when you think about like the sheer level, like Forest have won 7 games all season in our league, and Fenerbahce, we know, play in Europe every year, basically in Galatasaray, these type of level of sides. And the team that is sitting 17th in the league could go there and whack them 3-0 is just.
I mean, if you look at like Forest, like all Europa games, they've scored 4 or 5 and stuff like that, and then they come to the Premier League and it's like back to real life.
They be Porto under Dyche and things. And
yeah,
it's like it is just mind-boggling when you think about the depth, the level. Galatasaray, I know that's unfortunate for you, but they look like a bit of an outfit. We might get them again in the last 16, Liverpool.
Yes,
we might score them if he can hold out against Inter Milan. But I watched the highlights. It felt like they should have been walking off scoring 6 or 7. I think they'll be disappointed if they haven't scored 6 or 7, really, and really put the tie to bed as if to say, this is none of your business. They look like a bit of a. You just said there where you've got to find those players who've still got more left in the tank. That's what like a Leroy Sané feels like. He's got a couple of years left in the tank where you can go. Do you know what I mean? And kind of kick on. That's what probably Lucas Torreira feels like, and knows like he's still got a few years left.
I mean, like for example, Fenerbahce has like Skriniar who went out injured. That was the biggest thing in that game. But Asensio still got a lot in the tank. I mean, the thing is, some of those guys have so much quality that they might not be having a good game, but they can turn a game easily for you with one pass and stuff like that because they have that quality. But
you might be able to help me. But that's why I'm confused why Tammy Abraham hasn't really worked out. Because it looks like he's come back and looks well. He looks well. I thought he played well in the first game when he lost to Brentford. He scored. Technically, in my opinion, a clear goal. and then he scored again. He looks like his hold-up play is great, and it never really worked out in the Turkish league, did it?
No, I was shocked because I know when Besiktas got him. I mean, we used to talk about him way back as an option after Divock and stuff, right? Like that's one.
I was a big fan of him. I like him a lot. A lot.
So I was like, damn, man. Like, if he was available, I wish Fenerbahce would go after him, kind of a deal. But he could not. To be fair, Besiktas is like kind of a shit show. The team itself is not good, so maybe that was part of it. Like Rafa Silva, for example, ran away literally to Benfica to play for Benfica instead. Like you don't get that. It's more like something that you get in American sports, like NFL and NBA, somebody throwing a temper tantrum so they get traded away, kind of a deal. I mean, he pretty much did that, so he would leave, and then he went and played for like Mourinho and Benfica now. But yeah, it's kind of weird. I mean, Chris says English teams hold. Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
I was just so surprised again. If Liverpool drew Galatasaray, let's just say in the Champions League, we'll be going away, going that could be a tough game and all this, where the 17th place team in the Premier League went to Fenerbahce and whacked them. I just find that like we kind of overanalyzing games at certain times of what an opposition is. That's all.
Here's another thing though. Like when you watch those guys, dude, I always say this like to Edip when we talk. Some of those guys, that's the game. Those are the games they circle. I know they don't have calendars anymore, but those are the games they circle. So if those guys like your Sanes and stuff like that, when they go back to Turkey or do we go back to another, I don't know, the Greek league, wherever they go, those Europa games, Champions League games, whatever, those are the ones they circle, and that's the ones that they want to perform on because, I mean, that's where they get, They did beat us, but I mean, honestly, man, that was like a penalty that would only be a penalty in the Champions League. And really, we should have had, and that was when we couldn't get up our own way.
Ekatike missed a sitter. He goes 1-on-1 at 0-0, and he should pass it to Frimpong. I think Frimpong plays right wing. Frimpong plays really well. It's his first game right wing. And we were in the game. I think we had 3 or 4 chances before they scored where Liverpool could have buried them. But the problem is they get a pen and then kind of hold out, don't they? It's not a pen. They get a pen and hold out. But yes, they still beat us technically. And that's why I not just because of, I think Galatasaray could be the easier option to play. I just think the players will be licking the lips to go back there. Well, okay, let's go then. Do you know what I mean? You beat us this time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Could be like, well, we'll go and prove it to you. We get, hopefully, again, Isaac back on the pitch and these type of players. And then before you know it, Liverpool could go there and win 3-0. Do you know what I mean?
Speaking of, we should get to that because the press conference, it was almost like I mean, 2 things that are at the press conference that I want to ask you about. First of all, the Isak thing, I guess. Because there was like 6 questions, I think, about Isak's health and when he's going to be back. And he even joked that, like, are you asking for the Swedish national team or are you trying to get like a time kind of a deal in terms of when he's going to return? Sounds like mid-March, right about that international break. I still feel like he can have a huge impact. Everybody, are people like on purposely downplaying it? They don't want to get their hopes up? Or are people like really that pessimistic about what he will do this season?
Why wouldn't people want to get excited about having the best striker in the league last season back in their football team?
That's what I find shocking.
Like that, I find that bizarre. But there we are. I am desperate for him to come back. Liverpool are desperate for options. I'm really interested to see Ekatike playing left wing and then him up front, which we haven't seen, and I'm really desperate to see it. And then for the other people who don't want to see much of Cody Gakpo, then that helps. But again, I'm just...
Are you one of those?
Not really. Okay. As much as Gakpo frustrates me, I do quite like how he keeps his width now and then. And I said this last night on the Thursday podcast. I think the Salah kind of downfall has been massively overplayed. I mentioned it to you last week on the show, that if Liverpool is sitting top of the league and Ekatike's had 20 goals and Isak's had 15 and Gakpo's had 10 and Mo Salah's had 4, we'd all be sitting there going, great plan by this. Oh my God, Edwards and Hughes are the smartest men in the world. Do you know what I mean? It's because we're struggling. Where's Mo Salah to help us? That's all it is. And I've got that. That's fine. And by the way, Mo Salah, with the contract he's on and what he's done for the last 8 years, deserves that pressure. So that he does deserve that type of pressure. That's fine. But I do think like sometimes it's been overplayed. But yeah, going back to Isak a little bit, I feel like, listen, Liverpool are still competing on 3 fronts, not competing for the league title. Well, Liverpool need to play Champions League football. This argument of it might be top 5. Don't even take the chance. Finish top 4. Like, don't even put it into anyone else's hands and like anyone else's type of diddle, in effect. So Liverpool got to finish in the top 4. Liverpool are in 2 cup competitions. Feels like Wolves away is a really tough one right now. But like, I don't know. So I feel like, yeah, man, getting a fit Alexander Isak. I keep saying this about cup teams, Tim, and I mentioned it to yourself again. Strikers can carry average teams to trophies. They can carry average. And I'll give you an example. If Man City end up winning the league this season, Erling Haaland has carried a the worst Man City side in 8 years to a league title. Mo Salah carried Liverpool to a league title last year just by his goals and assists. His numbers. Isak can carry you to a trophy. He can just literally carry you to a trophy just by scoring some goals. And that's how Liverpool come in loads of games 3-2. We might not look great defensively, but we might score 2, and then we all go from there. So I'm super excited to get him back. And do you know what the worst part is, Tim? He was just starting to find his form.
Yes.
He was great finishing it. He was just starting to find a little bit.
You get the veers to Isak, you're like, this is it. See, it's happening. And then it
breaks. And it's just like, it just sums up our season, not in terms of like luck. And look, because we haven't, I think the injuries have been a little bit overplayed this season. Liverpool have a small squad. I just terms it of luck. We just like things have hit the post, things have went over the bar, chances that we haven't taken. You could argue a couple of VAR diddles, for example, the Galatasaray game, that's against us. And so getting Isak back on the field, mate, getting 10, 12 games in towards the end of the season, let him go away. You might not even qualify for the World Cup, have a rest, and then come back next season. I'm super excited.
Yeah, I think, I'm more excited because I feel like we have a huge drop off the last 20 minutes or so when Ekitike gets tired. And even if he's able to give you those 15, 20, 30 minutes a game and you can bring Isak off your bench, that's not too shabby, right? Yeah. I mean, after like Ekitike kind of a thing. Because I don't know if we'll ever see, unless it's like late in May, where both of them are starting or something like that. But I do think, it'll be a lot of like 60-30, like 50-40 kind of setups where he can come in, because you can see physically, like I should say visibly, a tired Ekitike, where his running drops, his press drops, therefore our midfield drops, and it kind of like trickles back. And we don't have an alternative right now to come off the bench and do the same work. So we kind of put up with it as long as we can until we bring somebody in to slide Mo to the middle or something like that. But I think that will be a huge help if you can get him in there, play 15, 20 minutes, come off the bench. And like I say, it's freaking Isak coming off the bench for you, not too shabby.
I know, no disrespect to like Chiesa and Rio and things. This is a world-class football player that Liverpool have spent over £100 million on. So they clearly think he's a good football player. And as soon as we get good football players back in our squad, it makes Liverpool be a better football team. I don't know. I'm confused by it. So I'm confused by it. I'm not sure. And what about Ekitike? What about him? Good players can play with each other. We watched Sturridge and Suarez do it. Good strikers can play with each other. That's what they do. They play off each other. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Liverpool had a plan, I'm assuming, in the summer, how to do the Ekitike and Isak thing. We haven't been able to get them on the pitch. Well, let's find out when we get them on the pitch. And if Liverpool can get all three of them fitting and firing on the pitch, and you're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League and the semi-final of the FA Cup, then let's see what happens.
Ryan says it might help figure out summer plans if he gets comfortable on the left. Honestly, that's the problem. I think we still don't know, and we never saw what the game plan is.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and I think when we were trying to work out, the results were poor. So it was like, you know what, let's go with the safest option that will work and go with that. And obviously then Isak got the injury, so it wasn't even an option to consider anyway. But I still don't know if we're looking to play like a 4-3-1-2 or whatever. Like, we just don't know. And we're not going to probably find out till like next September, really.
Yeah, probably in terms of like the plan or the idea. I think of course, I think we're going to see snippets of it in April.
Because you're going to spend 200 million
on
strikers. If you were one of them will be a backup. That's not a
We don't spend over 100 million. We signed 300 million pound footy players. Basically, I know it was like 75, but whatever you want to do. Do you know what I mean? I don't get the conversation. I don't understand it. People go, well, Isak can come off the bench and things. No, there's going to be a plan to get all these three lads on the pitch, surely. I have the plans. Ekitike left wing, which I haven't watched a lot of French games, but I watched the one when he set up Mbappe in the last the September, and he was on the left, and he was unbelievable because Mbappe was playing down the middle. So maybe that was the idea anyway, and maybe Ekitike knows that was the idea. This is another part of this. Ekitike might know that's the idea. Okay, can you do as a diddle right now up front, and we can do the Isak thing when he comes back, and you know what I mean? And we all go from there. Ekitike might prefer to play from the left. I don't know.
And you do see him like slide over to the left at times and like come in.
Space.
Yeah.
And he cuts in because he's really good at beating a man. He's really quick. And he wants that space to cut in and get a shot away. And, so I don't know. I feel like there's a plan for them. And I just think, mate, again, if you're in the Champions League quarterfinals and you've got Isaac, Ekitike and Wirtz and you're in cup competitions, anything can happen. Literally anything. I don't think Liverpool come in the Champions League. That's just my opinion. I don't think we can. I don't think we got the depth. In terms of
I think it can, it has a chance, and I've been predicting it, but I feel like it has a chance just because of what you just said. If you have those players, you go against any team, you're like, we can get something out of this. We have the quality.
And if Liverpool lose a Canate and, lose a Kirkers or whatever it is, in defence, I don't think we have enough depth. But there's an argument is, well, we'll just win loads of games 4-3 them. And we just got to turn them into basketball games because they're our best players. We can't defend. Let's just get on our way home to score a few goals and let's open a game up. Because that helps Liverpool, by the way, if we open a game up and overcommit. It helps Liverpool. Then I just think sometimes you don't need to be the greatest team in Europe to win the Champions League. And we've seen that really in the last, 15 years when certain winners have won it. Like, for example, Di Matteo's Chelsea and things like that. You don't need to be the best team to win the Champions League. You just need to peak at the right time and have the right numbers available towards the end of the season to win it. You can be great in January, but it's about being great in May. Hello, Arsenal. So it's like, do you know what I mean? Because that's when the trophies are given out. So let's just find out what can happen when he's expat. Yeah.
Well, not yesterday. He did play great the weekend over there. Here's a good question. I'll ask you because it will be peak Liverpool to win Champions League in a poor season, says, by the way, Chris. I've been predicting it. Do you like when you watch any of the other shows? I have to admit,
come on,
I do watch a lot less than I do, and I have eliminated a lot of channels I watch, especially this season, while I watch them flip-flop every fucking 3 days, where they didn't have an opinion of their own, and it would just like to kind of feed the clicks. They just tried to echo whatever the people on Twitter are tweeting and did not have an opinion of their own. I feel like a lot of people, to me at least, got exposed in terms of you don't have your own opinion. You just basically echoing what people say. So you look like you have a popular take. Anfield Agenda comes to mind, for example.
Yeah, of course. I don't have cable at all. All I watch is YouTube. That and the odd Netflix show and things like that. I watch a lot of YouTube. Because of course I want to watch the shows that I want to watch. So I don't listen to other people's opinions really on footy. Like you
don't do like Redman TV or Anfield Rap or anything like that.
No,
really,
I
you would
I do a bit of an Anfield Rap if I'm going on like a long drive for an hour.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If I'm going on, so I'll do a little bit of the Anfield Rap, some of their free shows, and things like that. And I used to be, I think I am still a subscriber really, so I do a bit of the Anfield Rap. But other than that, mate, no, I don't listen to really anyone's opinion on footy. I like to watch the overlap and things like that. I thought that Ange podcast was really, really good. I enjoy. He actually is changing my mind on him a little bit. So yeah, I'm just a bit. I don't, because I say this all the time, especially when it comes to Liverpool. Liverpool generate the most clicks. So for people who don't know, we mentioned this yesterday on the Thursday show with the Sabaz lights of Real Madrid argument. Yeah, he's got 2 years left. Liverpool generate clicks. Real Madrid took players off us before people are going to click on it. I'm going, what are Real Madrid up to? Like, just relax. Just relax. Like, you know what I mean? If Sabaz doesn't want to sign, Sabaz doesn't want to sign, the club will deal with it. If he wants to go to Real Madrid, fine, go. Latest.
Yeah, I think that was like, I was like, oh, I can't wait for the international. I was talking about it yesterday, Wednesday morning, I think. I can't wait for the international break because in 1 week where we didn't have a midweek game, they were really digging for stories. God knows what they're going to do during the international break because I think it comes in like 2-3 weeks over.
Yeah, end of March. End of March, right? It is because I think I'm back in England for it. Yeah, I'm flying home. I'm flying home. So I've got to tell you this story. It's a reckless Friday, so I'm going to tell you. So I actually booked my flight to fly home March the 25th. So to like April the 6th, the wife went, I'm going away. I'm going to see the family in Oregon. You stay in the house. I'm going to go back to England and see the lads. You know what I mean? She was like, okay, if you want to go home, go home. Booked this trip to pay for everything. Day later, she goes, when are you going? At this date to this date. She was like, I'm leaving April the 6th. I was like, I thought you said you were leaving the first week in April. She went, that is the first week in April. I went, how's April the 6th the first week in April? She went, well, it's the first full week in April. I was like, so I'm landing back in the country April the 6th. So anyway, I've changed my flights. So I'm going home April the 2nd to like April the 13th or 14th or something.
You would think you guys would give dates as opposed to like, I'll see you next Wednesday or something.
She just gave me this like generic, like it's the first week in April, not the first, because that's when spring break is basically for the kids.
Ah, gotcha. Okay.
So see family. So I'm like, well, again. So I've booked my flights and I've just worked out the quarterfinals of the champ. So the week before that March week, I was pissed because Liverpool weren't playing because it's the international break. Those qualifiers for the World Cup. That is the last week of March. But now I've moved the trip.
Oh,
I might be able to fit in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup and the Champions League. So at least I might be able to catch a couple of games on them all. Do you know what I mean? Which is kind of nice. So, but I was pissed because I was like, oh my God, I'll go home and catch a game. Then there's just that international breaks there. I'm like, you are gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, that would be brutal because I don't even think, like, what are you going to go see? So, yeah, that's nice, man. If you get like an FA Cup game.
Yeah, I'm open to it. I'll probably get the Champions League game at all. If the second leg, I think that'll be the first.
Yeah, the second leg would be home.
It is home, yeah. I just can't remember if I was all going to play out. And then, the FA Cup game was the Saturday. The 5th or something, or the 6th. I want Liverpool to be the Sunday. Really, that'll be handy for me. But because it's the FA Cup quarter final, if Liverpool are lucky enough to get there, but we'll see. But yeah, hopefully I can catch a couple of games. Don't want to get on. Yeah.
What channel? I mean, not that I'm kind of like you. I don't watch a lot because obviously we talk about a lot already. But I, in my socials and stuff, I'll see feeds. I refuse. Like I say, Anfield Agenda has been like the one that comes to my mind that I don't even click on a reel or anything anymore because I feel like there are a lot of channels, and obviously there are channels like us where there's a bunch of people, and it really I'm sure people who see my face, they're like, fuck that, and then leave. And then, like, for example, watch the Thursday night, or they might come on Thursday night and see all the bald heads and be like, fuck this, and then go to so when you have a channel, people pick and choose. They don't necessarily watch the whole channel all the time. But I've seen so many people, even in like, on Redman TV and stuff like that are like, you just like echoing whatever you hear that day. Your opinion should not change. I feel like if you're in this deal, if you're kind of reflecting some kind of knowledge and stuff, your opinion will change, but it shouldn't change every 3 days.
Agreed. And that's a part of this, I think, where, and again, I think this is a societal thing as well, not just really a football thing, where people just can't admit that they're wrong anymore about something. They just can't admit that they're wrong. Do you know what I mean? People are just, even like politically, people just can't admit, hey, we got this one wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the same with footy. People have still got the same conversation about Curtis Jones, which was 4 years ago's opinion.
Why is that? We were talking about this with Edip, and it's funny you bring that because it's the same. It's the same thing with like the Fenerbahce stuff, right? It feels like people, and this is what annoys me because these are fan channels, right? People will rather be right than be proven wrong and that guy do well and the team win. Same thing with Slots, same thing with, whoever they like kind of harp on. They would rather be right and say, I told you so, as opposed to that guy, for example, going and having a great season afterwards and playing well. And you're like, man, I got that one. I thought he was going to suck. So kudos to him, kind of a thing.
Again, my kind of opinion on the manager, and I want him to prove me wrong. I want Liverpool to win the Champions League. I want him to throw it in my face and me. Do you know what I mean? And go, there you go, you fucking stupid bull prick. What do you know? Because let's be frank, we're all just fans here who just voice an opinion. We're hoping the people in charge are more knowledgeable about this than us, because they should be, because it's their job. So the only thing that we could suggest is that I've watched, I'm 33. I've watched footy for 25 years, obsessed with football. I feel like I have enough knowledge about the game to kind of voice an opinion on it. I was the same with Dominic Szoboszlai last year. You know this. Yeah. I was the biggest Szoboszlai fan. He's been Liverpool's best player this season by a country mile, and it isn't close. And I said this yesterday on the Thursday podcast. He's on his way, the trajectory to be the best player in the world, or one of the best midfielder in the world. That's his trajectory if he wants to continue on it. 12 months ago, mate, I would have fucking sold him. Like I was gone with him because I just didn't think his numbers would carry it. I've told you my opinion before about taking leadership. Do you know what I mean? If people talk about being the next captain, he has all the attributes to be Liverpool's captain in terms of size, physicality, pace, quick, can shoot, can do everything that you want in a midfielder.
Basically, yeah.
Now I want you to grab some of these bums that you've got along with you and go, no, we're not going to finish 8th. We're not going to finish 9th. We're going to fucking, like Steven Gerrard used to basically, and drag a load of bums to the top 4 or the top 3 and win trophies. That's what I wanted Szoboszlai to do this season. He's doing it. He is doing that for us. He's dragging some bums along with him. For example, McAllister and Gravenberch right now, who looks like they can't run. and he's just dragging that midfield across and going, no, this isn't good enough. It's not acceptable. So what I'm getting at is that, like, and again, by the way, I would have sold him 18 months ago. He was doing my head. So he's proved me wrong. But again, that's what football makes liars out of people all the time.
Yeah.
And people just can't admit it. They can't watch something with their own eyes. The greatest cameo performance I've ever seen, basically, was last week when Curtis Jones came on against Sunderland. He was the best midfielder I've ever seen for 20 minutes. I've never seen, honestly. He didn't. I actually pulled the stats up to him, as you know, I'm not a stats guy. He had 100% pass completion. He won every duel he was in and won every tackle. He was unbelievable for 20 minutes. But people still go, hey, people still were going after the game going, yeah, Jones didn't really do much. He was unbelievable. He was literally unbelievable. I just think, yeah, we all just need to admit sometimes that, hey, we got some things wrong, and that's fine to have. And especially football, because again, it makes liars out of you all the time. And Arsenal might make liars out of us in May, so let's find out.
Yeah, that would be excellent. Yeah, we'll talk about the weekend schedule too, because it's like kind of like an interesting one. But yeah, I think that, like, I mean, everybody who regular listens know, like, I've never been big on Nunez and stuff, but I would have loved him to be like, you know what, I guess I got it wrong. He was a lot smarter footballer than I thought. He learned. It was just an adjustment, whatever. I would have loved to be able to say that, but no. But that's what I mean. Like, you have an opinion. You got to be able to admit that it's wrong. But at the same time, your opinion can't change every freaking 3 days, once a week. It's just, I find that very frustrating when, like, people do that, just because then that's not really an opinion. You're almost like a sounding board for whatever you're reading that day. So, because Twitter is full of people like you, then, like, you should, you know what I mean? Like, people like emotional people. That's not even an opinion. It's more like an emotion at the time than anything else.
That's it. It's the emotional side. You can't just take the emotion side out of footy. That's when I've sat there before, and I've sat on podcasts and things, and went, we're just a shit football team, and people can't get used to that. People can't get used to people, like, because it's Liverpool. No. I'm watching with my own eyes. I watch bad football all the time. Like, I watch a load of shit footy, and Liverpool are doing things what shit football teams do. Not okay. The last 5 games, you've seen a bit of a turnaround, and I'm fine to go with that. And we can probably touch on that in a bit. But before the last 5 games, Liverpool were garbage. Well, can't we just admit that? It's fine. It doesn't mean I support them any less. But you've just got to
see. I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to ask you something about that from the press
conference.
Yeah, I mean, I hear so many crazy, stupid things that's not even funny over there. We did not. The logo is the same, but we have a new contributor who's kind of helping us do some, like, branding and better looking banners and stuff like that. So you'll see some updates on the site and stuff, and hopefully eventually our thumbnails and all that kind of stuff too. I feel like giving up after my first videos get no views. I don't want to make them just for myself. Honestly, man, as long as it's fun, I really don't care. I mean, we started this thing doing, I think, like, in the mornings, I used to have, like, good old Alan was here. I only remember, like, 1 or 2 regulars. Cozzy would hop on, and it would be like 2-3 people every morning. As long as it's fun, whatever.
I was doing podcasts on my own, and again, I was doing it with Jamie, and 6 years ago, I did the podcast after the Origi derby goal for American Scouts.
Oh,
I did that podcast. It popped up on my I think it was like my first one I ever hosted was the Origi derby goal. I haven't listened to it back. I think I should, but I thought it was just me.
You should, because, dude, I see some of the old footage that comes up, and it's like, yikes, more than anything. Like,
exactly,
I think I understand that, but my thing with always the emotion is you gotta be able to turn it off. One. And, I understand during the game in the 50th minute, you might say something that's a little bit over the top because you're emotional at the time. 15 minutes after the final whistle, I get it. But 15 hours after the final whistle, that's not being, like, you're just like, you're a dude who can't control his emotions at that point to me.
I always say, anything that says between a footy match and an hour after is free reign. If they're all shit and you want to sell them all after the hour after, that's fine. Well, after 2-3 hours after the final whistle, you still go, but I still love Mo Salah, like, do you know what I mean? I still adore the man.
Exactly.
But I always think it's so in terms of the emotion that side. Yes, of course, when we're in the game, Liverpool's an extremely emotional football club anyway. But just don't be blinded to things that your eyes are telling you, your brain is telling you. You go, just don't refuse to accept that things are different now, or someone's changed your opinion. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. Like, for example, Curtis Jones could score 3 next game, and everyone will go, he's had a shit game. Like, just people have set an opinion, an agenda, and that's why I just don't get about footy players. I want anyone wearing a red shirt to be unbelievable.
Yes.
Like whoever plays for Liverpool, I want to be the greatest player in their position, because that means Liverpool win loads of trophies. Do you know what I mean? I just think that's
There's a lot of hate watching going on. I think that's what it
Yeah,
is.
it's a weird one, isn't it? I hate watch. I don't know. I don't know.
There
What
are
that is.
people like literally, like for example, I was like giving shit to Sir Z, but like like Gakpo, for example, there are literally people hate watch. We always have a couple of players that people hate watch. Like it used to be like Lauren, and then it was Gomez. Like see, like just waiting for him to do something so you can say something bad about him. But I just don't like. I don't understand how people go about doing that. It's one thing to be frustrated as you watch it. Oh, it's him again. Like me watching Trent's defending or something like that. It was like, fuck, it's the same thing again. But it's not like I was waiting for him to fuck up defensively so I can say it. It's just you're calling out what you see. You're like, see, he did it again, kind of a deal. But
and then you'd put a 70-yard pass on someone's toes, and you're like,
yeah,
well, that's how he fucking plays then. You know what I mean?
As much as you've defend at the same fucking time.
Yeah, I know, but that's the thing. You've got. I always just think, again, I think this is common society, though, Tim. I really do. People just have to kind of own their hands up when they've done something wrong, or they've got it wrong about a player, or they've got it wrong about a manager, or whatever it is. I would love nothing more. I say this all the time, my opinion on Slot and things like that, whether I think he's the right man to take us forward. He's the man in charge right now. And I want Liverpool to win every single footy game, basically, that they play. So if he's the man, if he's the consequence, if Cody Gakpo is the consequence of Liverpool winning the Champions League, I'm happy with the consequence too. I'm happy with it. You know what I mean? If that's like, oh no, I've got to watch Cody Gakpo in a Champions League final, cut in and score, sound, yeah, that's fine with me, Tim. I can swallow that. I just think, let's just all, anyone who supports Red, I think, again, as I just said, in game state and an hour after it, free reign to say whatever you like about these lads. Yeah. But we all fucking adore them. We all, especially I think at this point, the man's just not getting sacked with 12 games to go. He just isn't getting sacked.
Yeah.
Liverpool have won 4 and 5. We were 10 minutes away from beating City at home, where you can win 5 and 5. We've actually found a little bit of form. So let's fucking kick on now. Get behind these lads, and let's see what we can do towards the end of the season.
I think you're right. I think it's a lot of society, because it's the same thing in politics. People dig in. Yeah. People dig into their stance and they don't want to come off of it. And this is why we can't have nice things, basically.
yeah. Exactly.
Players and coaches, we can slander someone for now, but we can't 100%. No, I mean, we never can. And you kind of like try to. You just got to be able to admit when you're wrong. And like, I mean, I've been like slot in because I didn't like any of the alternatives, and I've been like saying it, but then, yeah, I mean, at the end of the season, when the results are not there, and you're going to be like, okay, now is the time. Like I would say, because that's what I was saying anyways, the end of the season, for example. I just feel like, there's a lot of, like Sparky says, a blind scorer will find a nut occasionally, but I think that's like diminishing sometimes what people accomplish too. Yeah. So yeah, like a shit player can have a great game and stuff, but I feel like it's not gonna find that many nuts. Doesn't matter, like all the nuts he finds, people always find a different excuse. Like I love when people say, for example, now where like when Ekitika scores, it's Ekitika saving Slot's job. It's not Slot putting Ekitika in a winning position or knowing how to use Ekitika. You know what I mean? Like automatically everybody takes every event and kind of conforms it to what they believe in the first place and like presents it that way. It's like, oh, the players are saving him. I mean, that's the whole point, isn't it? Like the team playing well is the whole fucking point.
And that's, I can get that completely, and I can get on board with that. I think it's more the part. I've seen loads of shit Liverpool players play well for Liverpool, but they were shite.
Yeah,
and that's fine. And by the way, and again, I think some of these players are shite. I don't think the manager's massively great. And I've mentioned my analogy before about peacetime generals and wartime generals. I just think that's all he is, and that's fine. Doesn't mean he's a bad manager. I just don't think he's the right fit, and that's no problem. But my God, if Liverpool win footy games, and again, it's always full credit for me to the manager. If I see him set us up tactically in a game, for example, when we go to City away last year, play a completely different formation, play 4-2-2-2, we win 2-0, Liverpool dominate the game. It's full credit to the manager. As much whether I rate the fella or not, that's full credit to him for doing that. I just think sometimes again with players, it is quite diminishing. I thought, for example, the last 5 games, I mentioned this last week, and I know it's kind of when it's a bit more precedent on the back of the Brighton game, but I thought Mo Salah was back last week before the Brighton game. I said it to you. I think we're starting to see his numbers creeping. I know people were kind of surprised by that, and then he's unbelievable against Brighton, and everyone go, Mo Salah's back, and you're like, yeah, he was great the 4 games before. You just didn't want to let your eyes see it. You just didn't want to tell yourself that
see, it goes back to the hate watching.
Yeah, you just didn't want to look at Salah again. And then I kept saying, Mo Salah's not an Eden Hazard. He's not a Riyad Mahrez. He's not easy on the eye. But then what happens is at the end of the season, Eden Hazard walks in with 12 goals, Mahrez walks in with 12, and he walks in with 30.
Yeah.
And he goes, so that's what Mo Salah is, mate. He's the stats. He's the one who delivers because that's what they do, because that's what those numbers do. So, but I thought he was great against Brighton. I don't know about you. I thought he was excellent. I thought the pass.
I was more, honestly, as I watched that game, I kept talking about it on Monday too. I was more worried about the Turkish national team because he made Ferdi look. I was like, did Ferdi get this much slower, or is Mo back to his old pace? Like, I could not tell.
He doesn't for pace in the first half, and you're like, if Mo could have just got it on his left foot.
Yeah,
my God, I was like,
dude, in the second half, he like literally they started and like Mo started like pulling away from him like the good old days. And I'm like, Ferdi is a fast dude. So I got to see it this weekend to know that is this pace kind of back, or did Ferdi get really slow? I was shocked.
It's also harder running with the ball. And Ferdi he didn't have the ball. He was just running, and Mo was still running with the ball.
I always go back to that United goal where he outpaces Daniel James. That second goal with the ball. Yeah.
He's like that, muscling him off. Like literally like a child going, you know what I mean? Like this, come along, come on. Like carry them with him to the cop end as he slotted. Yeah. I thought Mo was tremendous in the game. His pass is a joke. His pass is a joke for Ekitike in the City game. I mentioned that. No one keeps talking about it. That's at 0-0. Ekitike just do the decent thing and score. And we talk about the pass of the season. And Liverpool are 1-0 up. I just think, all these kind of little things that can happen in games. He crosses the ball as Sunderland. It's an unbelievable.
I mean, his touch to Szoboszlai, for example, in the second goal and stuff. Like he's never going to be that player. Like Bob says, that was 6 years ago. I get that. He's never going to be the same player. But if you get a little bit of it, that Mo was so up there. A little diminished Mo is still up here.
He's going to walk in.
That's what we're after here.
I tell you, if Mo Salah plays the same form we've seen at the last 5 games, he's going to walk in at the end of the season with the most goals and assists out of any winger in this league. Yeah. And he hasn't played well. And that's how
he's been gone for a month.
That's how much of a freak he is. He might walk in still with 15 Premier League goals. It's so hard to get.
Would you then keep him for next season if he finishes like that?
Well, I've always been at the stage, Tim. I think there's bigger problems than Mo Salah to deal with in this Liverpool.
No, I get it. But would you try to get something out of that? Because that was the worry. You know what I mean? Last summer.
If him and the manager on the same terms and everything's perfect and rosy in that garden, I'd keep him. And I do, and again, I keep saying this. The reason is, we were meant to see it with Isak, Ekitike, Wirtz, and Salah. I haven't seen it. So why not just see it next season? Just say it's
really weak defensively. That's what I worry.
But that's my argument. So Tim comes back to, I think Liverpool have far other bigger problems to deal with than Mo Salah this summer. If Liverpool's top of the list, if Liverpool had 4 more centre halves and a right back who was fit and another centre mid, and you all sit there and go, well, what do you want to do this summer? Mo Salah could be on that conversation. Liverpool need 3 or 4 centre halves. Yeah. Liverpool probably need a backup left back. They probably need a fit right back and a centre mid. You've got a decision on the goalkeeper. Massive decision on the goalkeeper.
But wouldn't you then take the, 50, 60, 70 from Mo as opposed to 0 the summer after to use on those center backs and stuff?
And I'm okay with having that conversation as well. But I also think how much does the 60, 70 million cost to replace him in the summer? How many right wingers do you look at? And again, Liverpool might go and find a gem from the South American League. I don't know. That's their job. I have no idea. Yeah. I just think to go and find a right winger who's left-footed to come in and do what Mo can do. And I don't mean by numbers, by the way. I just mean by being a winger. They're so hard to find, like your Sakas and things like that. They're hard to find. But by the way, Saka doesn't get nowhere near the numbers that Mo Salah gets. And we can count them up at the end of the season and see what the numbers are, and we can compare them. And Saka's on 400 grand a week at Arsenal, and they're rating him 150 million. He gets nowhere near the numbers. So I just think
numbers are crazy. I was just pulling up, like a name we've thrown around, thinking it would be a bargain. Is Minte, for example?
Yeah.
But what do you think Minte's value is right now?
45 million.
Yeah, this says 50 to 80
for the Minte.
Yeah. And honestly, why not? I mean, an unknown is probably 20, 30 right now. Because I think it's almost like, we're always talking about English players. I think there's also like a Premier League tax too. So, this one says, I know what the transfer market's actual. Transfer market shows them right now as 40. So, in a bidding war, that's going to be 50, 60.
And he's not even playing for Bournemouth that often. I'm sure he's been in
and out. This last game, he came off the bench against us, but he has been. I don't have the stats right here. I can pull it up. He just came across as a name to my head.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Because we were all saying, We were all saying if he goes to Brighton, kicks on, goes and gets the numbers that we think he can get, then we can all go from there. But I'm pretty sure, gents, and I'm going to check now, that he's barely been playing.
Yeah, he has 24 games, 1 goal, 4 assists that we would really,
and he's
literally shit on if we got it. And he's worth that. That should just tell you how much it's going to cost to get a right winger, by the way.
He hasn't played 90 minutes since December the 3rd.
Yeah, so that's what tells you what the market is. If this guy is worth that, you know what I'm saying? Unless you go find that gem that you're talking about that nobody has heard of, even then it's going to be probably 20, 30.
This is the point. And then there's also a part of, if you go and find those gems, I think there's difference between those type of gems, Tim, and gems that play in the Europe top 5 leagues. I think that's a big discretion. So Liverpool aren't going to go and really sign a player from Corinthians, and he's going to start right wing for Liverpool.
Yeah.
As much as we might want him to, they want to see him go to a European top 5 league and do it in that league and then bring him in. I think that's what Liverpool fancy. So I think, for example, Minter was always the argument. I think they wanted to go, well, we'll let him go to Brighton. We're okay taking that sacrifice. And if he grows the next 2 years and he goes and gets 30 goals in the next 2 years, we'll just go and pay the extra 30, 40 million because we know he's the right deal.
I find that shocking because that's not the frugal way of doing it. You know what I mean? Like if you and I were given the job and we had a tight budget, you would be like, well, this is the way to do it. Because if once they come here and play 2 seasons, this guy's price triples.
Yes. But
I mean? If Brighton gets him for, I don't know, 12, 15.
Yes.
Look, I mean, he's 40, 50. Not even starting for him.
And I'm fine with that. You're right. But I think Liverpool are fine taking that chance on certain players in certain positions. So, for example, they're fine taking that chance on the right winger because they know Mo Salah's ready to go. Mo Salah's going to get you this anyway.
Mm-hmm.
If we go and take the chance and the lad doesn't really work out, he can't get a game, then we're just kind of stuck in his progress and all this. So I think Liverpool are fine with that argument and letting him go to Brighton and go and doing it and then signing for 60 million. I think where Liverpool are not okay with that happening is more like the centre mid who can play in 3 different positions.
Which is fair, yeah.
If you sign a right winger, for example, you can only play right wing, well, you've got to replace Mo Salah. If you sign, when Liverpool signed Cody Gakpo and Luis Diaz, Sadio Mane was still knocking about for 6 months when we signed Diaz, and then Gakpo comes in. Well, that's like 3 players at once. No one's replacing Mo Salah. It was just Mo Salah's side. Liverpool haven't signed a right winger for 8 years, 9 years.
Yeah.
They just haven't signed anyone to do it. So, and the player that you could kind of replicate of what Mo can do is Harvey Elliott. And they don't rate him because of his left, because he can cut in on his left foot, and he's very technical on the ball. So that's a point, again, going back to right back at least. Liverpool have got a decision right back. I think that's Liverpool's biggest conversation this summer is centre half and right back.
Probably.
About the right back. You've got to make a decision on Conor Bradley. You have to make it.
Well, you already gave him the contract. It's just a matter of, are you going to...
Is he second choice?
I think with both of them, I mean, even before he got... I mean, this injury is different, right? But even before then, he always had muscle injuries, blah, blah, blah. He was never there. And I mean, when I was there, he rarely played 90 minutes. I think the decision becomes, you can't have a depth chart of Bradley and Frimpong at right back. You either have to get another right back, so Frimpong becomes your right wing option, which probably is your right wing option.
Who can come in 2-3 right? Who can come in 2-3 positions, like right back, right wing, and even right mid. I say, in case if you want to go to
Ferdi Kadıoğlu. I actually want, that's why I was like, man, what happened to him? And I know he came back from an injury, but he's been playing well for Brighton. I really wanted him actually back in the day because he can play right back, right wing, left wing. You need a player basically almost like that.
Well, that's why they started to sign Gertrude. Because Gertrude can play 5 different positions. He plays centre mid, centre half, left back, right back. I still think they might do Gertrude in the summer.
I think so.
I still think they might go back in for him in the summer. But the conversation is, and again, this is what Liverpool should be on. He's on loan. You could have loaned him in the summer. That's on you. Yeah. Liverpool still needed centre halves in the summer. Like, whether we like it or not, in my opinion, I think anyway, unless they were really fancying doing Leone, doing 15, 20 starts, which I don't think they were, you could have just loaned Gertrude in the summer.
You think that was like from Slot? When they're like, hey, you know what, man? Yeah, we're not going to go in and overpay for somebody right now. We're going to have to make do. He's like, how about him? That was my old students. They have him over there on loan. Like, I almost felt like that's the name he threw out in the meeting. He was like, can we go get him at least? He's on loan.
Yeah. And you're right there. They could be that. But they might have said in that meeting, we're getting Mark A towards the end. It's all done. And then they'll go, Okay, then. Do you know what I mean? And I think you could swallow that then for Mark A.
No, I'm saying in January when his name came up and it was a possibility. There were rumors if we could work it out with what is it, like Leipzig now, right? He's Leipzig's player. So I almost felt like that was not even in their radar. That was thrown out by like Slots, maybe just because I'm making the connection because he used to play for him and stuff, and he knows exactly what he's getting, and he'll know exactly what to do.
I still think Liverpool might go in for him in the summer if he's for 20 million quid, if that's what the buyout clause, and Liverpool need a squad player to do. If you're going to do Joe Gomez, for example, Gomez goes or for 5 million to whatever, then you go and do a Gertrude who can play centre mid for you as well, like doing basically your endo option in centre mid, but then also doing the second, third choice right back, the second, third choice left back, the fifth choice centre half, and then your fifth, fourth choice centre mid. Those players are gold dust.
Yes.
You have so much gold dust in squads. Honestly, when you look around teams, lads, for example, Arsenal just done one with Norgard. Norgard does bits centre half for them. He can do bits centre mid for them. He knows you can just throw him in anyway. He's not going to cause a big fucking hoo-ha when he's not playing. You know what you're coming in for. I just think those players are gold dust. And Liverpool haven't had one really since James Milner. I know we've had Joe Gomez, but when he's not fit.
When you have Joe Gomez, he did play really coy about like right back. It did not sound like he's going to do Joe Gomez on right back for sure, because he said he's available to start. And I don't blame him for not starting every single available center back in the starting 11 either, to be honest with you. But here's what I was going to ask you from the press conference. The second question, as I was watching it, was I was like, this is a good topic. He keeps going on about how, first of all, this is what I hate about the media. I think they asked him 10 times if he needed the vacation, just for him to say he needed a vacation so they can be like, he's under stress, blah, blah, blah. Like they tried to make I don't know if you watched it, but they were like, they were talking about the guys got away for a couple of days and stuff like that. He's like, did you want it or did you need it? They were like, but did you need it? Like they asked him like literally 4 times if he needed the vacation. And he was very smart not to say, no, I didn't need it. I guess you'll take it, but to go see the family. But I didn't need it. They literally were trying to nitpick it. It's so fucking annoying.
What would you rather him do? Go and play a Champions League qualifier that he's already qualified for? What you want him to do?
But they wanted him to say that he needed a vacation.
Right.
That was the need word is what they kept harping on. They asked him literally 4 times. Go back and watch the press conference. They're like, but did you need it? Like, I know you didn't want it, but did you need it? Kind of a thing. So it's like, he was very smart about that. But when he's asked about the recent form, he keeps talking about that the results have been better recently. The play actually has been fairly consistent throughout. They just had some, like bad luck or couldn't finish. He keeps talking about like in the boxes, what they did and stuff like that. Do you think that's more being positive to the team? Because you would think he would ride the wave and say, yes, we're playing a lot better. He's intentionally not doing that. That will look better on him as well for all these naysayers and say, yes, we're improving. He keeps saying, the results are improving. We've been doing this, getting better slightly all along the way. People never saw it. Why do you think he keeps saying that?
I don't know.
Do you agree?
I do agree that Liverpool have been incrementally better in certain games where we haven't picked up.
Like let's say last 15 games. Because he's basically saying it's just not these last 5 games you should be looking at, or the Sunderland game and stuff. We've been doing a lot of what we've been doing these last games before. We just did not get the goal, or we could not stop the goal and stuff. So it looked like we were playing poor.
There's been some awful results. Awful games in that last 15. But there's been moments in those games where Liverpool have played well. So Fulham away, for example, we have a great 20 minutes, scored a couple. He's unlucky not to pick up the points, all the points. Bournemouth away were poor. I thought we were poor all game.
Yeah, was rough.
Poor. Leeds at home, poor. So, but I understand what he's saying in terms of there's been kind of like green shoots a little bit in those games. There's moments in the games. At least he's probably feeling a little bit like we've had moments in games where we haven't taken them. And if we just take them, everything can change quickly. For example, we scored early against Karabakh. Like Liverpool go on and whack them. Just whack them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I get what he's saying in that aspect. I think that, but I do think the last 5 games, I'm so angry with the City half time still. I really, the first half of City, I really am, because I don't think he's went for it. I think he shit himself, and then we're brilliant for the second half. But I don't know if he hasn't went for it, Tim, because we haven't got the energy to do 90s.
Yeah.
But my conversations always is with that though, Tim. If you haven't got the energy to do 90s, I'd rather you throw everything at the first 45, get 2 goals up, and we all go from there in the second half and go, lads, we're holding on. Your legs are falling off. I'll make a few subs and we can kick on. Do you know what I mean? But I'd rather you do that. But again, I don't want to keep thinking harking back to the negative part, because I'm quite buoyed at the moment. Do you know what I mean? I am feeling quite buoyed by the last, 4 out of 5. We've won games, and I just think, again, you've got Forest, West Ham, and Wolves your next 3. You've got a chance
I find it interesting because I feel that's more like a message to the team, because you're never going to convince the Bobs of the world that the team has improved, regardless of actual proof, I guess. But it's interesting that he keeps saying that, because it feels like it would be on paper, it's easier for him to say, yes, we're playing a lot better, the guys are figuring it out, blah blah blah, and it would be a lot more positive than him saying, I feel like, because he's harped on the team so much that we're not playing poor, we just got to be better in these 2 areas, that he doesn't want to go to the press conference and say, yeah, we're doing better, we were kind of shit before, because he's harped on the guys so much that we're not playing poor, we just can't fucking finish and we can't stop. If you could fucking do those things in the boxes, we'd be like, the results will be a lot better. I find that odd, because I don't think that's to the media or you and me. To me, it comes across as it's more to the team, because he's been telling him that for the last 2 months.
Yeah, I can go with that a little bit in terms of, I understand what you're saying. I feel like, but again, I just feel like now I'm a bit more, the lads have started to click a bit more. Ekitike's clicking and Verta's clicking, and things are just starting to develop. I mentioned this yesterday on the Thursday podcast. I don't think it matters who Liverpool play in a game. I just don't think it matters. They can play Wolves or Arsenal. It just depends what Liverpool show up. Do you know what I mean? It just depends. Yeah. And by the way, that's the sign of an inconsistent side, and I'm okay with that. At this point, I'm okay with that, because I'm quite buoyed about the Cup, and I'm quite buoyed about the Champions League and things like that. I'm just, and I understand. I also think people just look for things just to knock them over the head with. I just think people are looking for things like snapshots just to knock them over the head. And I think that's harsh. I do think that's harsh. I think, as much as I disagree with some of the things he said in the pod, in his press conferences, I'm not going to sit there and hate watch, I believe it's called, a press conference. You know what I mean? I've got far too much time. I haven't got the time for that, to be dealing with that about the press conference. So, listen, it is what it is. I don't know about you, Tim, I'm not excited now. I feel a bit, I can't wait to watch us play in a little way. Do you know what I mean?
I'm still got confidence, but definitely looking more forward to games than I was before. But I'm still worried of which Liverpool is going to show up. Like, I'm not convinced that we're getting the more recent Liverpool. Because that entire Sunderland game, I was worried. I was watching so freaking worried, because we were playing so well. But I knew if we considered the cheap shot goal from a set piece or a long tournament or some bullshit, all that work would be gone and people would be like, we're still shit, even though we were actually playing really well. This team just needs results, honestly, even more than good play. They just need freaking results
right now. Yeah, I agree with you. I know people are saying I want to see performances and things. Listen, I've got 12 games to go. I'm not asked about performances in the league. I just genuinely don't care.
Why are we really? Honestly, like, when people say that, I need to see a performance, I feel like that's always bullshit. We just want to win. Because the first 10, 12 weeks, we say, well, it's the beginning of the season. It's the 3 points that's important. I think there's like a 2-week period in the middle of the season where we're like, we want to see performances. Because then it's like, it's the last 15 weeks. All you need is the 3 points and stuff. We really don't give a fuck about performances, do we? Like, it's just the result, really.
I felt like that last season. I thought Liverpool were not unbelievable all last season, and that's why that's where the doubts came from. But Liverpool just got the results and win the league, and that's what matters in the end. I'm just at the stage where I think these lads could just go on a little bit of a run. The next 3 games are, I don't want to say, but they feel favourable. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, they feel favourable. And if Liverpool can just win the next 3 games, and you can sit there and go, oh, we've won 7 and 8, that feels like a bit of a corner turn. Do you know what I mean? That feels like, okay, 7 and 8 is really good form for anyone. Arsenal would take 7 and 8 right now. I think Arsenal have won 3 and 8.
Yeah.
Arsenal won 3 and 8 in the top of the league. So I just think, we all need to kind of, I don't know, I'm just very, I'm feeling confident. Not in terms of winning anything. I'm just feeling like Liverpool are in games more, and I think Liverpool have more of a chance to win games than they did 7 weeks ago. That's all.
That's fair. Yes. And I think that's why I'm more inclined. I mean, I'm going to watch either way, I guess, but I'm not as dreading the kickoff as opposed to like as I was maybe. It's just like, here we go kind of a thing, like a torture session sitting on the chair kind of a deal. But let me ask you that real quick because you mentioned that 2 huge games in the Premier League. Obviously, aside from our boys over there, City playing Newcastle at home and Tottenham
North London
Arsenal,
derby.
especially after the midweek game.
The North London derby.
Yeah. I mean, because especially if City take care of business on Saturday, that is an unreal game to watch. Arsenal.
It's my favourite game to watch in a Premier League season, the North London derby. I love it. I don't know why. I just love the game.
Do you give Tottenham a chance just because it's the derby? Because normally, like based on form or anything, but those games are always different. That's, I mean, kind of like us with Everton, right? Doesn't matter how good we are, how shit they are. It's just a different game somehow.
Even if it comes to form, let's just say it comes to form. Okay, Spurs are a bag of rags, no problem. They have a new manager. They've had a week off.
Yeah,
they've been to Wolves on a Wednesday, being ran ragged for the full 90 in terms of being in the game. It's not like Arsenal were 4-0 up on half time and they were just taking it. No, they were in a game. And I mentioned this yesterday about Arsenal because I find Arsenal the most confusing footy team in the world. They are 4 points clear and they look like the most miserable football team I've ever seen. Like, that's bizarre. I don't know, Tim, what the manager does. And that's where I'm kind of confused. I think he looks around his dressing room, and I mentioned this yesterday. So when teams are going through droughts of winning leagues, like Arsenal going through a drought, Liverpool Liverpool finally won the league. What happened the year before? We won the Champions League, and you put the big one down on the table, and then Liverpool win 26 of the first 27 games, and just said we just got to win every game, and we'll just take it from there. It was over by October. We beat City 3-1. It was done. It was done.
Pretty much.
City knew it was done. Oh, it was all done apart from the shouting. When you're at the stage now with Arsenal, I think, and I'm finding that so confusing. He's at the stage where he's got this team into a position in the last 3 years where they can compete on all fronts, but he hasn't got over the line. Okay, and we can all laugh at him with the bottle jobs and all that. But if you're the Arsenal manager right now, I look around and go, there's no one in my squad who's been there and done it to calm them all down. Every game is just filled so full of emotion. In the game. They can't just win a game 1-0. They're all crying on the pitch at the end and bringing the kids up and waving to cameras now with the kids on when they win a game 1-0 in the middle of November. Do you know what I mean? Everything's like so like on edge all the time. I just find it a bit like. So now, okay, so let's go back to the present day now. In Liverpool, when we had James Milner, who'd been there and done it.
Yeah.
And the lads, calm it all down. We had the players like Henderson and that. Just calm it all down. We're all fine. We'll go to Villa and win 2-1. And do you know what I mean? We'll win loads of games. I think we played West Ham, I think, and won 2-0 at home when we were dire, but we just won the game. I look at but by the way, there's a part of this when you know this because you follow your footy. When you play negative footy, that's what he does. He plays negative football.
Yeah.
It has a sell-by date. It always does. But I think that's what Slot was trying to get at during the roundtable thing. If I play attack on footy, there's no sell-by date to it. It has a sell-by date. So when you start throwing in a few bad ones, everyone's like, well, he's playing this way and he's got this player and he's playing him like this. And then when Mourinho did it for Chelsea, by the way, he was more attacking Mourinho in the early years of Mourinho. He was very much more attacking. But anyway, and they conceded like 13 goals all season. He had Claude Makelele in the team.
Yeah.
He won loads of shit at Real Madrid. And he's playing centre midfield. He had Paulo Freire and Carvalho won the Champions League, I think, for him at Porto and players like that. Who Ashley Cole wouldn't have been there. I think he was there for the second one, but he wasn't there for the first. But anyway, I think when you look around that squad, Tim, how many players have been there and done it?
Yeah.
There isn't one. And Eze's won the FA Cup, but Eze's not a leader. You could argue Rice has won the Conference League, okay, and he feels like a bit of a leader, but he's never been over the line. And I think now we're 4 points clear, and you put the preface back in City's hands. You put it back in City's hands. City win every game, they win the league. That's how City look at it.
Yeah.
And this team finishes strong every single season. They finish strong. They finished strong last year. They had a bag of rags, City, up until January. It looked like City were going to finish 8th last year. They fucking signed a couple of players in January. They go on a nice run. They finished third. I just think now with Arsenal that the bottle thing is starting to become a thing, and I didn't think it was. But I do think it's now like in the Reds. Do you know what I mean? I just don't know what
they had so many chances, dude. I think it was 2 or 3 weekends they had a chance to go out there and win and make it like 9 points or something like that.
Yeah,
and
right.
They freaking could not do it every single time, including our game, for example. When they came out to our game, I think if they won that one, it was going to be 8 or 9 or something like that. There were so many games. And I think it goes back to, yes, there's nobody over there to say, we got this, because they don't have it. And I think, it's kind of like when you keep winning, you get the belief that you're going to win at the end. Like the beginning of the season, where you're like, we're going to score 80th minute, 85th minute, 90th minute. When you can't win, kind of like how we couldn't a month or two ago, you concede all the time because you're worried about conceding all the time. I mean, that game, how they kind of give that away to Wolves from being up to 0 is all panic, and goes back to what you're saying. Like, I do agree. It's all running on emotion. And the guy on the sideline is like that too. It'd be one thing if you had the players on the pitch, but they looked at the sideline and it's like an Ancelotti or something like that standing on the sideline, all composed, and be like, we got this, man, kind of a deal. But he's over there running around, like just waving his hands. So it's like full panic all over the place.
Like, he's sitting there because he's like the David Brent of managers. He's like the Michael Scott of footy managers, of like what he says. He's just a weird... But I mean, like, he's got like hiring pickpocketers to say always be alert, and that's just like weird kind of stuff that happens. And so, but there's also a part of this though, Tim, and I think, where say they finish second again, whatever, and they don't win anything, and then he's hiring, I don't know, magicians to come in to go, see, I deceived you all. There's got to be a part with the players that are looking, going, you're a fucking idiot. Like, I bought into this. You're a moron. I want to win now. Do you know what I mean? There's got to be that conversation.
Yeah.
I just think now, though, Tim, right? 4 points clear. And I know what you're about to say in terms of it could have went 9 and 10. It could have went 9 last week if Liverpool just beat City and they did the business. But no, City overturned it, then they drew 2. City drew 4 on the bounce at the start of January, or 3 on the bounce.
Yeah.
City drew 3 on the bounce. Then they went to Forest, drew 0-0 and all, and they've won 3 and 8. I don't know, and I'll have to look back at the records of this. If any Premier League champion has ever won 3 and 8 and still won it, I don't know if a team's ever won 3 and 8 and still won it. I don't think it's
not in recent history, that's for sure.
I don't think it's happened. Now the conversation is I've had, Tim, and I kind of meant a little bit with Bichler actually about the quality of the league being poor, and I'll probably go along with that a little bit. I do think that everyone's kind of tightly gapped in terms of quality. So what I'm getting at is, if West Ham go down, there's 2 or 3 players that will get in the Liverpool squad. I'm not saying starting 11, but you take Jared Bowen, for example, as a little piece. That's a good piece for Liverpool. Max Kilman, good. He could be Liverpool's 4th choice centre half comfortably. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's all. So I do think there's that, but I also think there's a part of this, Tim, where for our newer fans, of course, in this country, Klopp and Pep are just freaks. And football's just going back to the norm of winning the league on 80 points, like last year. That's just back to the norm of what used to be. You used to win and lose games all the time. What Klopp and Pep did should be studied in like Harvard, in Oxford, in Cambridge. It should be studied of what they've done in football for those down 4 or 5 years to continually get over 90 points and get a bunch of group of 20-odd lads to come along with you and milk every ounce of energy. I think that is such leadership, Tim, in such like high regard of football management that we've never seen before. And I just think football's going back to normal.
And I think you need results along the way. Like you said, you put the Champions League thing on the table and you're like, okay, now we go again and we do this. If you don't have anything to put on the table, you're just swimming against the current, it probably feels like after a while.
In terms of the Arsenal thing, yes, I agree with you. And I don't think they win the league. I don't think they win the league. I think City are wiped the floor.
I would take great joy in that. And I never thought I would be happy to see City win, but I would take great joy in that.
It's the worst City team in 8 years, or we're going to win if they win the league. But we keep saying it because of that striker. Because if he just finds a bit of form again, he's just going to win in the league. Because that's what he can do. Mo Salah did it for Liverpool. Liverpool's team last year is not better than any Klopp side that Klopp ever said. Like, okay, you could argue the last season of Klopp or whatever, but the team last year is not better than the 18-19 team. It's not better than the 19-20 team. It's not even close. It's not better than the 21-22 team who get 92 points and win 2 trophies. It's not better than that. But they just had a striker who had 40, 50 goal contributions. And eventually, if you have enough, you win the league.
Yeah.
They don't have enough goal contributions from the forwards. They don't have them. They've got. I think Gabriel's the third highest goal scorer. It's not.
Yeah, because they showed like when Saka scored his goal, it was his first in like God knows how long. I can't remember how long they said, but I was like, damn, really? Like it's been that long. I mean, Chris says the quality of the players is high, the style of football being played is poor. The one thing is, I think the football overall, the quality is yes. I mean, the players are high. I think the teams are a lot closer. The gap is not as much. And I think a lot of teams are playing in a way where they are playing more pragmatic, if that makes sense. You don't have a lot of Brightons of the world who still say, oh, we're going to build from the back. We're going to do this. No, we're going to do the long throw-ins. We're going to keep loading it in the box. It's a little bit more old school because they feel like that's levels the playing field a bit more. When I hurl a freaking ball into the box, anything can happen, and doesn't matter if you're 60 million or 30 million because anything can bounce off of it. I think a lot of teams are doing some stuff that's leveling the playing fields, so it feels like everybody is a bit tighter, like you were saying. Like the gaps are not as much because they do some things that if you were like 30% better than the other team, the way some of these teams are playing, they're bringing that down to like 10-15%, so you're not running away with the league anymore because shit like this can happen.
And I agree with that because it is a great equalizer for teams. It's been a great equalizer for 20, 30 years in football. But the reason why it stopped in the 80s and the 90s, Tim, teams were just leaving 4 strikers upfield.
Yeah.
And goes, we'll back our keeper to come out and punch it, and then we're banging. So what happens is they have to leave 4 or 5 players back, and then that's what evened it all out years ago.
Yep.
But funny enough, all these nerds with the fucking Excel spreadsheets haven't figured this out yet. That if you just leave 3 or 4 forwards forward, and then take your chances and go, all right, we'll have to defend them 50-50, but we've got our keeper to come and punch. And you can tell the keeper, you have to come and punch every single one. But as soon as you punch, we're away. That's what stops it. But I also think, going back to the gap part, I do think, and again, like, for example, if Forest go down, let's just say Nottingham Forest go down, which is not out of the ordinary. There's no time in the last 5 years with when the championship clubs are just getting relegated straight away. There was no time where I'd go, I'll take any of them players. If Forest went down, I'd look and go, well, Hudson-Odoi, it's a nice bit of business. Elliot Anderson's a good player. Do you know what I mean? Like Anderson, Hudson-Odoi, Morgan Gibbs-White. Fuck me, I'd take Nico Williams back as a backup fullback because he can play both sides.
Yeah.
Whether you like him or not. Ola 9 is a good player. I just think we would all get in Liverpool's squad of 25 players. You'd all get in.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm not like saying, but they start. No, of course not. But you'd all get in, these type of players. I just think, like, again, going back to the gapping part, I do think it's tighter, Tim. I really do think it's tighter in terms of like 15 years ago in footy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And even in the last few years, Tim, like, you know, the teams that were coming up were just getting battered and things like that.
But I think a big part of it, like I say, is like the people are playing a bit more realistic to close that gap. You don't have a lot of teams who are like, I don't know, you had Company come up with Burnley, for example, and was like, you know what? We're just going to roll like this. Nobody's doing that anymore.
If you look at Wolves, for example, if Wolves go down as one of the best Premier League sides ever, which could happen because they're only on 10 points. If I said to you, then, well, they've just signed that, Liverpool signed that Gomez centre mid. You'd go,
yeah, people like, yeah,
he's fine. Yeah, we'll take him as a squad player. I wouldn't have said that to you 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I wouldn't have said that to you. I wouldn't have said Liverpool have just signed it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just wouldn't have because the standard was poor. But again, I just feel like, again, the gap has closed and the gap is closing ever more. If you look at Villa's team and play teams like that,
I mean, the money too, like, you know, Chris Sunderland spent. I mean, we were talking obviously with Cozzy smashing Juventus and then, you know, actually getting smashed by Forest. Forest's budget is more than twice of Juventus.
Yeah, I think Juventus finished the game with Winston McKennie up front, which is a wild statement.
Yeah.
That is.
But I'm just saying, in terms of like the money spent, the value of these Premier League teams, how they compare to the rest of Europe is just ridiculous.
They've got Louis Kelly centre half.
He was horrific too, by the way.
Juventus, and I quite like him at Bournemouth and things like that. I know Liverpool
have gotten Kenan out of him. They signed him to a contract, but I would bet you, I would love to get Kenan Yıldız over here, but
Cute Miners, you mean? Oh yeah, that Cute Miners, is it? I remember he ran us right.
Yes,
good player. And he's at Juve. What I'm getting at is you are right, and these are massive footy clubs. These are like, again,
Yeah.
high
And
level.
Forest, who's about to get relegated, is worth twice as much their squad is worth. That's great. And I know they're deeper squads too, but that's still crazy. Okay, let's end with predictions.
Yes.
Liverpool going away to Forest Sunday.
I think Liverpool win. I think Liverpool win 2-0. I think it's going to be a hard 2-0 low. I think you could score in like the 38th and like the 86th. I think it's going to be a really, do you know what I mean? Like you're always in the game. I think it'll be one of those games, and when you look at the stats at the end of it, the shots on target will be around the same, the possession will be around the same, but I think Liverpool will just take the chances.
Chris says 2-0-2. Who am I to argue with you guys? I'll go with 2-0 as well. It sounds like a good slot special.
I know we're going to wrap it up though, but it's still on this game. Do you think it's a negative that they beat Fenerbahce? Or is it a positive? And I know it's a negative for you, but I mean, in terms of what I get at is, Tim, new manager bounce, they've won 3-0. Are they going to come out and kind of have a game of footy with us? Do you know what I mean? Are they going to come out and go, right, here we go, loads of confidence, I'll get me forwards on, and we'll have a bit of, and then there could be more space for Liverpool? I think that could happen, you see.
Here is the yes, because I feel like it's a new manager coming in. If he came in and Liverpool was his first game and he said, hey, we're going to sit tight.
Exactly.
Because you got to do something different than what Sean Douche was doing, first of all, because that's why you came in, right? You got to do something different. So I think they will play a lot more attacking, which, it's a really low bar, but they're going to play more attacking than, Sean Dyche would have him play.
Yeah.
We were constantly talking about, when we were talking about the Fenerbahce game with my brother, we were saying, hey, Vitor did not come to win the Europa. He came to save them to stay in the Premier League. Right. So that would be the main focus. But I mean, I think they're still like 6th or something like that in odds. And I'm sure they were higher in the beginning of the season to win the Europa. Really, aside from like Villa, and there's Lyon. I mean, there's not a lot of teams that are in like Europa now. Since the Champions League guys don't drop down to it, the level of teams are not like Villa is the favorite. And you would think Forest against Villa, I mean, it's not like a foregone conclusion, right? If that's the final, for example. But I do think it will be better for us just because they will play a bit more attacking.
That's my point. I think the space might open up for us. I also don't think a point helps them. I don't think a point helps. You've got to win your home games when you win against anyone.
Do you think so? I would think Vitor would take the draw any day.
I think he would on the 80th minute.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Do you know what I mean? I think if it's 1-1 on the 80th, he'll go fucking out and shit up shop here. But I still think he won't set them up to take a draw. I think he would on the 80th. I think
that's fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I also think as well, if I think it helps Liverpool. First of all, it helps because Liverpool have had a week off, and Liverpool don't have many very weeks off. And if you're telling me that these lads can't run, and Ekitike can't do 90, well, he's just had a week off. I want to see you do 90. If I see you blowing out your ass on the 65th, 70th minute, you know what I mean? Ramadan's over. There's no excuses for the lads now, for those people who want to kind of say that. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's a thing anyway. I think these are fucking legit athletes, and I don't think Ramadan is a thing that kind of affects them like that. But yeah, I just think now we can find out, and I just think that Fenerbahce game could help Liverpool a little bit. They played an extra game.
Here's another thing I'm looking at. West Ham plays Saturday against Bournemouth at home.
I know.
So if West Ham wins that game,
I think are they above them? I think
now they're tied just a goal difference. So that does make it, I think, where you need to get something more out of it because they're only a 3-point gap in between. So I guess we'll be rooting for West Ham.
If West Ham win 4-0, they're out the relegation zone. I know Bournemouth, that's probably unlikely to happen, but they are at home. You know what I mean? I just don't think a point it's not handy for them at this point. It's not really. Points don't help you when you're trying to stay up in the league, is all I mean.
Yeah, I mean, Chris says Pereira knows what he's up against. But that's the thing, like when Vitor goes over there, he has to you have to take a philosophy with you, right? And you have to instill a new philosophy on the team. And you can't be like, just not this week, guys. We're going to do it. Then Ramadan just started, by the way. Yes, I know you just mentioned that. I was like, wait, what?
I'm sorry,
just started.
Sorry.
It just started. I did not know, by the way, Ekitike was Muslim.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I know.
For example, I did not know that. I mean, I know he's French. I mean, I'm not shocked by it, but I did not know. But I don't know. Like at this day and age, every team has a couple of players. So it's not like, and like you said, I don't think it's like the old days where I feel like in the older days, especially in the Turkish league, you would see like a huge drop off.
Would you really?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you would. The tempo of the game and stuff like that. Maybe it's psychological, like the tempo of the game would drop. I don't think that's as much of a thing anymore with the modern science and stuff like that. These guys are like loaded with other shit that, it does not affect them as much.
I spoke to Cozzy yesterday. Of course, says he's Muslim. He's on the podcast yesterday, and we were talking about it, like, and he said they've been doing it for 20 years, 15 years. Like, it's not like it's the first time round.
Yes.
Like, they are programmed to do it, aren't they? Like, you know what I mean? They've done this before. It's not their first go at this. And I don't know, mate. I've looked at the team that he started there, mate, against Fenerbahce. Anderson, Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs, White, Hutchinson, Jesus. Like, he's went for it. He has gone for the game, man.
Yeah.
Like, he's got his positions in place. He's got his lads available. Do you know what I mean? And again, I just don't think that any of that stuff kind of affects our lads.
The only good news is Chris Wood is still out, and that would be my worry when they load the box and stuff like that. It's like him and what's the dude's name in Newcastle?
Walter Mardy.
No, the tower they have. God, what the fuck?
Joe Linton.
No, man, defensive dude.
Tower.
Ward? No, God, Danny?
Oh,
no,
Dan Burn.
Dan, yeah, that's what.
Ward, yeah. Well, by the way, I'm glad that you picked like the most British name, Ward, Burn. Like, it's got to be like a one syllable.
It's one of those.
One of those wards. There's like, do you remember that time at Bournemouth? There was like 6 wards. I felt like, I don't know what it was. In my head, like 6 wards played for Bournemouth and played for Palace. You might not have, but in my head.
But yeah, I think that's a good point with the Ramadan thing. I think, like when you're a certain age and you've done it, but I'll admit, I mean, I don't practice any religion these days, but back in the days I did like fast and stuff. And I would say the beginning is always trickier. The first like 2-3 days is always trickier. Yeah. Back in the way past day when I did fast, it would be a lot more. Take my meds. Why am I taking my meds? For memory. You know what? That's wrong, bro. That's wrong. But
Dan Burn, basically. Dan Burn's forcing you to take your meds.
You know what? That's it. I'm calling the show.
After the League Cup final last year, Dan Burn forced me to take some down meds. Do you know what I mean? Having Alexis McAllister mark Dan Burn on corners. That's something that I'm going to take to my grave. But there we are.
Okay, going with the 2-0 across the board. It feels like I'm all for it. The slot special, as I like to call it, 2-0.
I like Chris's comment there.
How it goes Monday morning. I'll be back in action. Do join us then. Do check the socials. We might do a live watch along maybe for the Sunday game, especially if things go our way in the morning. We can just kick back and watch the North London derby and stuff. So tune into the socials. If you're not following them, please do. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do that. By the way, I don't know if Dragon is like one of them, for example, but if you are I don't know the right word is like celebrating Ramadan, but I mean that's like I said, that's a tough thing to do. We were talking about this with Angie yesterday because the Ash Wednesday and all that kind of stuff. Like we were comparing some things like Lent and stuff like that. I mean, it's very challenging to do the.
I used to work nights when I first came to America with a Muslim. Wisdom, his name was. Brilliant guy, amazing, loved him, and we're still friends now. But because he used to work nights, of course, he was doing Ramadan. But he used to come in mate with like after sundown, like at least like 1 o'clock, and there was like 4 or 5 different meals he'll crack open. Honestly, bro, the curries and that, oh my God. He used to sit there smelling it going, that smells unbelievable, man. And he's like, and he used to look at me going, I haven't eaten all day. Like, this is like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? To sunset and that. But yeah, man, he used to get to that time. He had come
the hardest part, I mean, aside from not drinking, but the hardest part of fasting, and anybody who fasts in the chat right now knows, is setting that fucking table up before breaking fast. Like, like mama's constantly giving you stuff to take to the table. You're like, God damn it, when do we get to eat this? Like, we have another like 18 minutes here. Like, you're just constantly carrying food over there.
Yeah, I used
That's
to like
the most torturous part of any fasting.
So but yeah, I move back to the brothers, yeah, man. Amazing.
Okay, everyone, thanks for joining us today. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you guys Monday. Have an awesome weekend. Take care.